Welcome to BTEC Sporting Goals, the BTEC Sport and Exercise Science series, supporting educators and learners to maximise the value of their BTEC qualifications during and beyond study. In this episode, episode 6, we meet Arkon. We discover who Arkon are. We look at their proposition within the fitness industry. We look at the collaborative work between BTEC Sport and Arkon. We then consider how this would support BTEC learners during their study and their career journey. And then also go on to find out a little bit more about the work that Arkon are doing. Okay, so I'd like to welcome to the webinar and our recording for the pod, Kate Ford, who's the director at Arkon, and also myself. I'm here, Gareth Reynolds, the sector manager. How are you doing, Kate?
I'm good, thank you. You okay?
Yeah, perfect. Really appreciate your time today. So as I've explained to the listeners, we're going to be exploring and finding something out about Arkon today for maybe some of those that are not aware of Arkon. I'm sure there are plenty in the industry that are, particularly around learning and BTECs, and also the work that you've been doing with the AOC, which we'll explore later. But before we get into that, it's always really useful for people to understand maybe a little bit about you, your interest maybe in sport, fitness, physical education. Yeah. How did you get into this field?
So I've been old school. I've been in this field now for well over 20 years. To be honest, coming straight out of school and into sort of the college and the higher education side of things, I went straight into fitness. So for me, it's all I've ever done. So in terms of my experiences, literally started out at the very beginning as like fitness instructor, group exercise instructor, dabbled with some PT as well, and actually over time moved into the more management sort of roles within the clubs, but found sort of very quickly after trying that role that actually I felt more comfortable and enjoyed more front facing with the customers and really trying to help them improve their fitness journey. So sort of knew that the management side of things wasn't really the way that I wanted to go in terms of sales and that type of stuff. So took a slight directional change and moved into the education side of fitness then. So worked with a number of different training providers over the years, delivering for assessments for them, and also got into internal verification, but also headed up our own training provider company for well over 13 years, where we delivered a lot of the current level 2 fitness instructor courses, personal training courses as well. And also worked a lot actually with BTEC students. So we were really lucky enough at one point to get a lot of government funding, where we went into local colleges and sixth forms. And within the school holiday period, we actually put a lot of the BTEC students through their level 2 gym instructor certificates, and the following year through their level 3 PT qualifications as well. So we have actually had a really nice mix of different types of learners and students over the years, working with different demographics as well. So that was a really great time for us. And it sort of came to a crunch really at the end, where Matt Ford, the other director for Arkon, was working very closely with national governing bodies and collecting lots of data himself around performance, that we had to make a decision. Okay, do we carry on down the training provider side of things, or do we actually put all our eggs in that one basket and focus on the development of Arkon, which again I'll talk more about in a little while. So that's really a bit of a background from myself. Matt's followed a very similar path, who's the other director, but he also worked as a hammer strength instructor, master trainer. There we go. I knew the word would come to me. So he was a master trainer for hammer strength for a number of years and live fitness, which is where actually he collected a lot of the data that was utilised for the creation of Arkon. And met a load of people from national governing bodies in that role, which allowed us to really curate everything we needed to create Arkon as we are today.
Brilliant. That's a really fantastic overview, and it gives a real sense for listeners, be those learners or practitioners in centres engaging with learners around that journey and that diversity and breadth and variety of that you've gone through. And I'm sure that's informed where you are today in your current role, which is really sort of interesting. Leads me on to that question around what does your role look like on a day-to-day for someone that's thinking about kind of exploring their own opportunities in what is such a massive sort of sector and industry. What does your day-to-day look like?
You mean mine specifically, or someone who's in the fitness industry as a general?
I think both would be interesting, because I think you can inform that first one because you've lived that, haven't you? But
Yeah.
what does it look like in that role now as well?
I think I'd like to say, if I'm honest, that the role has changed a lot in the 20 years since I've sort of been involved in it. But the reality is it hasn't massively. Which is something, again, I'm sort of bringing it back to another reason why we developed Arkon, in terms of improving and updating sort of certain testing methodologies and things like that. So I think that our sort of role, or my role really in this industry, is I want to really assist and help learners or individuals get into the industry and really make the most of their experience. So in terms of a fitness instructor and that type of thing, that role really, to a degree, is a little bit redundant nowadays. It's very much you go straight into a club and you become a personal trainer. So you generally need a sort of level 3 qualification in order to even gain entry into fitness facilities nowadays. And yeah, really, it's about gaining as much experience as you can on the gym floor, having as many touch points as you possibly can with individuals, to really enhance your experience and know really what you want to do and which directions you want to go within that sort of industry, so to speak, as well. I hope that by utilising what we've created in terms of the Arkon fitness platform allows individuals to really give themselves opportunities to go and have those touch points with individuals and help them understand if they want to focus on more of a general public, general pop sort of focus on PT, or whether they want to go into more the performance side. So there are different avenues that you can sort of go into. And again, one of them, very much like myself, is to go into the educational side of things. Once you've got all of those years of experience working with individuals and learning what works and what doesn't, and constantly taking on new education, because everything, it does change to a degree, but there's always trends and methods that come out that very quickly change, and we learn actually maybe that wasn't the right way to do things. So this industry is always evolving, which is amazing. But you need to keep on top of that education really to get the most out of it. And I think by adopting all of the new approaches, but really looking deeply into them rather than just going off that everyone else tends to use or do this, really look into them and really explore what it is they're trying to say, and where the value actually sits, and is it evidence-based, or is it just a fad that someone sort of come out with that to sell packages of PT clients and whatnot. So yeah, I think continual education is the biggest sort of thing I would say that the industry needs in order to really maximise you and your career, really.
Great. No, thank you. And I think obviously that theme there around that continuous education, that learning, that evolution, that feeds into some of the work that we're doing together as well. And something else I'd like to pull out for people that are thinking about developing their career journeys and their learning in this area is something you mentioned right at the start around being in front of people, being with people, that people process. And for me, a top tip of pulling out for that, of that would be developing those skills and getting that exposure and experience, because that's really one of the key differences. You know this sector much better than me in terms of that fitness element, that face-to-face. I'm sure that impacts your clients if you're better with an individual than some people that are not.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest barriers that a lot of instructors or PTs find when they first enter the industry is having the confidence to approach people, and really, having a way of actually knowing how to approach them rather than just sounding too salesy, just to rock up to someone and say, would you like PT? You need to find a way of building that rapport with individuals, and it takes skill, it takes, practice. I think, again, I'll come on to that a bit later, but there's elements of the Arkon platform that make it very easy to just go up to individuals, and sort of present that to them rather than feeling like you're going in with a sales pitch. So again, it takes practice, it takes a lot of support, and also working with the right people to help mentor you is a massive thing, that you should be focusing on as well. Picking the right people that you think, okay, I'm going to go and learn from their experiences and really try and implement as much of the advice they can give me to start off as, on the best footing, really.
Fantastic. Okay. What I'd like to do now, okay, is if we sort of we've touched on some of these briefly, but it'd be good to explicitly cover them. So first of all, who are Arkon? What is it that you do?
Yeah, okay. So as we said earlier on, it's made up of two directors, myself and Matt Ford, who really is the creator of Arkon. Arkon was created really to enable individuals to quantify their fitness, but also level the playing field and stop people from comparing themselves against the unachievable standard of others. So by collecting like thousands of pieces of performance data over a number of years and working really closely with national governing bodies, we've created an online fitness testing platform that houses over 100 assessments so that you can test your fitness across 6 different categories. Now, those categories are aerobic, anaerobic, agility, body weight, power, and also strength. So the way in which it works is you go to the gym, you select the tests that you want to complete based around your goals, obviously, input your scores, and then the Arkon platform will evaluate your performance. But it also tells you how much you need to improve by to reach the next milestone. It also lets you track your progress, identifies your strengths and weaknesses. But I think one of the most important things is that it actually validates whether the training you're doing in the gym is actually effective and it's actually working. In terms of how we're different to any other sort of fitness testing platform, there aren't that many, if I'm honest, online. It's more tests that you can access online, and those are generally created around normative data. And if we're being completely honest, a lot of that normative data was collected back in the 80s. If you look back on a lot of these fitness tests or industry standard tests, they're very outdated and very old and generally focus more on you have a male result and you have a female result. It doesn't take anything else into account. So the key difference between Arkon and those types of tests is that when you enter your results into the platform, the system in the background takes into account your height, your weight, your age, and your gender before it calculates your score. So it's much like a golf handicap in that sense, but it's for fitness. It's not about who runs the fastest or lifts the heaviest load on the bar. It actually takes into account your strength to weight ratio and your other personal metrics to give you an individualized performance score, basically.
I think just on that, Kate, what I really like around that is that actually you're measuring against yourself. Firstly, you're seeing your own progress, but then you can start to get a greater sense of the population, because as you say, when learners explore this in be it their level 2 or their level 3 studies, they'll have an appreciation, as you say, that normative data is pretty crude, to say the least. It's a starting point to gain an idea of a concept and what it's about, but then actually having this data which reflects a greater community, a greater audience, gives you something really to have something that's a bit more realistic and makes a bit more sense. And as you say, firstly, you can apply it to yourself as an individual, but then you can start to have a look at communities if we're thinking about certain sports, for example, and we'll go on to that in a moment in terms of the combines and etc. But it really does give a greater field of maybe valid data for a specific community, as opposed to something that's really unachievable. We know when we talk about BMI that it's got so many sort of challenges. Yes, it does give you this sort of crude outline, but it could suggest something that's completely wrong.
Absolutely. And also I think there's, looking at more of the competitive side of things, a lot of sort of fitness competitions and things that are out there, you generally get the same type of winner. They look a certain way, they tick a certain box because it's the way that the assessments or the exercises have been set up. They're biased towards a certain type of individual, but actually all athletes are built differently. Not one athlete should look the same. It shouldn't be the same type of person, the same age group always winning. And, you find a lot in these competitions as well that you'll have separate categories, like you'll have the masters category for those that are slightly older, or you'll have a male category or female category. In a more competitive environment, Arkon actually means that for the first time you can hold fitness competitions or events where everyone has an equal chance to win, regardless of their physiological attributes, because that in the background has all been taken into account when they actually get their scores for the exercises or the workouts or the WODs that have been included in that type of competitive environment. And just to make it really simple, every single assessment on the platform is scored out of 100. So you can go and do an assessment, and your best friend can go and do an assessment. You could look totally different. You could even be completely different genders, and you can also be completely different age groups, but your score is out of 100. So whatever your score is in the end, you know that actually all of your attributes have been taken into account in that score. And where you might think just because your friend lifted heavier than you on the bench press, they should get a higher score, that's not the case. Based on all of your background information and what you're actually capable of based on that information, you might have outperformed that person and actually lifted 5 kilo less. So it really does level that playing field, and it allows for healthy comparison rather than judging or comparing apples versus oranges.
Yeah, that's really, really well put. And I like the sense of that there's some concepts that often don't really get engaged with until maybe a learner accesses HE, in terms of really exploring fat-free mass, for example. But by what you're saying here, actually, that's something you have to think about straight away, but it's done in a way which you can conceptualize. And it does make sense that actually, if you've got less fat-free mass or more fat-free mass, that's going to impact your outputs.
Absolutely. And it's the same with for instance, if you're doing a strength assessment on the platform, and most people would class a PB or a PR as lifting more weight. I've got a PB today, I've lifted 2k more on this. But actually, you can actually get a PB if you've lifted the same amount, but actually you didn't realise, but you've dropped a kilo in body weight.
Right, yeah.
It's a new PB.
Yeah.
Just because you haven't gone up on the load doesn't mean you haven't just PB'd. Your actual performance, your power to weight ratio has just increased. That's a new PB.
And it's much a healthier way, isn't it, to consider? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. No, so I think in terms of what you've explained there, I can really see the purpose and the need that this fulfills. And I think it's, for me, looking from a BTEC perspective, there was a real exciting opportunity to have a further discussion. And I think in the first sense, it was to understand that this could support learning in terms of what learners were covering. And as we said, a couple of those things that we've touched on, those themes, they really start to come out in a way that makes sense and which is really pragmatic. So in terms of the BTEC, we're thinking of knowledge, skills and behaviors, that doing, that application, and your platform really supports that. But I think also in terms of the learner understanding their own fitness, whether that's from their learning perspective or themselves as athletes or performers or people just wanting to be healthier and engage with exercise in a healthy way and activities. And then that final piece for me, which is critical with the new sort of BTEC suite at level 3 and the level 2 industry skills, is around bringing that into the workplace, into the industry career journey, because your platform doesn't just do it for the learner or the person that's doing it, the training for their fitness. It's also something that they can use to take further and use with clients. And that's that full journey of learning. So I really like the way in which that all joined up. And I'm sure that was a massive part of your thinking process of when you pulled this together.
Well, it was the fundamental part of really that, I mean, the whole point of the creation of this, being in the industry ourselves and working in the industry and not having a tool like this, was just apparent to us that we wanted to provide something that would really support PTs and even sports coaches, you know, for their players to utilise a way of really redefining fitness and letting people understand their own fitness. So it was really important to us to make sure that all of the assessments on the platform were valid, reliable, you know, repeatable. And so that's why it was important for us to work alongside those national governing bodies to get their stamp of approval on all of the assessments on the platform, so that we knew that they agreed with, you know, all the full techniques, the technique videos we've got on the platform to teach you how to correctly perform these assessments and the criteria and the scoring criteria and whatnot, to make sure everyone is doing the same thing that, you know, is repeatable and is a particular standard, so that we can support those coaches to go out and utilize the platform based on their clients' goals. Okay, well, what is it that you want to achieve? Based on that, then these are the types of assessments that we feel on the platform would be great for you to start off with. This is going to give us a benchmark look at your fitness, see where you are now, and then we're going to program off the back of the results, and in 6 to 12 weeks time we can bring you back in, redo the assessments again and actually track your performance. Has your program worked? If it didn't, why didn't it? You know, was it a technique issue? Was it more to do that either you wasn't enjoying it? Was you not able to get to the gym? do we need to spend a bit more time on these particular areas? Because of the assessments that we've chosen, we can see you're really great at the strength, but not so great in the aerobic capacity test that we've done. So that's an area now we need to look at incorporating. So it really does help PTs and coaches identify the strengths and weaknesses and program off the back of the results that they're using for this. But I think as well, it also empowers the client to sit there and go, I can actually see where I'm improving. I can actually see that what I'm doing, I'm validating the training that I'm doing, because it's showing me here where I can see my progress. So the fact that I'm paying for a PT is obviously showing me that it's my return on investment is a great shout, because, you know, what we're doing is actually working.
No, that's great. Thank you. And I think what that does, that end of the journey, my sort of hope and aspirations around this is, first of all, that the learners engage with the platform at this end and almost learn how to use it for themselves and explore and have a real understanding, so that they can then take it into that career journey. So, for example, when on our level 3, we have the SIMSPA standard mapped in our fitness. So when learners come out, they would have done authentic activities to have that exposure and that experience. But actually, when they come out and they get that standard, actually, if they've used this platform, they're going to see the value and think, okay, I can use and apply this. But taking this back one more step, for practitioners that are listening, teachers, lecturers, and thinking, okay, I'd really like a resource to, firstly, you mentioned the critical terms there around standardized, valid, repeatable. Actually, the learners that are 16 plus can engage with this and look at those videos, understand them, look at them in their own time, their own flexibility. But the content is done in a really, a really beautiful way. It's the sound, the visuals, the way in which they're filmed and the content comes across, I think really helps that learning, and is in a way that learners would engage with really well. And I think
it's really quite visual in some aspects for those types of learners that, you know, need that additional, you know, visual support, you know, with, like you say, with the graphics and stuff that are on the videos. It really does help.
Yeah, definitely. And it gives a very sort of clear, as you say, regardless of what the stimulus that the learner needs to engage with, it's all there to work with. I think also we've given some examples in here, which are obviously throughout your platform, some PDFs that, again, lecturers might look at or teachers might look at and think, okay, well, there's the standardized approach. We're not having learners just going onto their search engine, searching how they should do this. They're seeing it, they're exploring it, they're reading about it, and then they're doing it. And then using your platform to its fullest value, or more of its value, they're then logging their results as well, and they're seeing their own progress, which I think is really nice. So in the sort of complementary piece that the learners would get from accessing this, they're going to be able to access all of those fitness bits that we cite throughout, to give them a real sort of sense and a flavour of some of those things that are on the platform. And also they can engage with the combines as well. Could you explain a little bit more what the combines are for people that might not have an appreciation of that?
So the combines are more of a selection or a battery of tests that you put together yourself. So what you could do if you wanted to run, whether it's like just a general fitness competition or just a fitness ranking system where you had a number of clients that you wanted them all to engage with a set specific number of tests. On the platform, you can choose, say, you might choose 4 from the strength section or 2 from the aerobic, depending on what the goal of the combine you're wanting to create is. You'd put all of those battery of tests in the combine, and then you send that out either to your clients to go and do in the gym and input their scores, or you can do it face-to-face with them if you're training them on a specific day. And then it will total up all of their scores across all of those assessments and give them one figure, so a total score. And then it shows you on a leaderboard. Again, everything includes the algorithm, so it always takes into account, the score will take into account the person's height, weight, age, gender. And it will almost rank from top score to bottom score all the individuals as they complete those battery of tests. It's also a great use actually tool for sports teams, because you can really choose or select sport specific style assessments based on, you know, rugby, and which I'll come to that in a second. Even just a strength profile one for weightlifting, you can do just a rowing one, or you could do one for focus more around football. And I think for teams and sports teams and things like that, they can actually really see you know, who actually is the top performer overall across all of those assessments. But what's also great, if you've set the combine up as a sporting combine and you've selected that it's football, in the results table, you can actually filter it by position. So you can actually say, okay, well, the top person overall is John. Let's just have a look now at midfielder. And then it would just show all the people who have classed said that they're a midfielder. And then you'd be able to see, well, okay, the top person at the midfield is X, Y, and Z. So you can really gamify it and create almost like, from a personal training side of point of view, again, you can really create a nice competitive community. Utilizing that as well. But like you say, you can set up competitions from it. It could just be a friendly, you know, leaderboard if you want to utilize that side of it. But it's also great for the sports performance side of things as well.
Yeah, I think, as you say, we are going to move on and discuss the competition element a bit more explicitly in a moment. But I think from a perspective of a centre, there's real opportunities to use this, whether this is part of an enrichment program.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you did want your BTEC learners that are on the fitness route to maybe undertake some of these with a group of learners, there's an opportunity there, but also around different academies, as you say, with our college system throughout the country's fantastic range of different academies. And one that comes to mind anecdotally from my previous experience around American football, those different units within they may well have different combines for all different reasons, but also I think there's a piece here for teams to appreciate each other a little bit more, going back to those measures being a bit more individualized but realistic, that actually might not have a total appreciation of how fit that individual is over here. She may be fantastically fit for her position, but actually overall she's the fittest in the whole team. And I think that gives as you say, the term you use, holistic, it gives a different lens, and it's a much healthier feel around what we're talking about here. So it's not driven to kind of really run yourself into the ground for all the wrong reasons. It's acknowledging your strengths for who you are and the way in which you're built.
That's it, exactly. And the combine side as well, it's not exclusively just a battery of singular fitness assessments. You can actually create workouts within there now. That's sort of a new update that we've had in the last couple of months. So you can actually create a specific scored workout that you can get clients to take part in from a fitness point of view. And you can score them based on that particular workout that you've designed as well.
Great, thank you. So that leads us on to, I know that you've been doing some work. Previously, you did some work with the AOC, I understand, when we had the lockdown. You've done some fitness competitions, I think. We
did body weight focused ones. Obviously, people couldn't get to the gym. Not everyone has a fully equipped gym in their back garden. So yeah, we wanted a way of keeping individuals active when they can't get out and about, especially in the big lockdown when you weren't able to leave the house. So yeah, we put a bit of a body weight competition, again, combine style, where we selected a certain number of assessments to see who sort of scored the highest in that over the time. They had so many weeks to really hone in on their scores, keep trying the assessments and the workouts to get as high a possible maximal score as possible. And then with a winner at the end, which was great. It kept everyone focused for a number of weeks.
Yeah, for sure. And we all sort of needed that. And I know there was a number of colleges and academies sort of engaged with that. Yeah. And obviously that left a good sort of sense of what Arkon could do in the space of AOC. And I understand that you've gone on for a new sort of proposition and competition. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So really off the back of it, I think what AOC had recognised was how Arkon can be used really to build communities and, you know, enhance people's activity levels, to give them something to work towards, but also motivate them to keep improving. So we've set up, basically, there's a brand new thing that we've set up at the moment, which is for everyone, regardless of colleges, for individuals. It's called the AFR, and it's the Arkon official Arkon fitness rating. So it's Arkon's way of quantifying fitness really with one single number. So you, on the assessment platform, we've carefully selected 10 key fitness assessments from the 5 categories mentioned earlier that give you the best understanding of your current overall fitness level and assigns a number to it. So if you think Madden rating, FIFA rating, but it's for fitness, that's basically what we've created. So AOC have seen that and said, this is something that we feel we could implement across or give access to all of the students, the wider community that use the college gyms, as well as even the staff to get involved with. So each college has an option to opt into this project. And then that unlocks access for all of those individuals I've just mentioned to come in, complete the AFR rating. They have around about a 12-month period to do all of the 10 assessments that are on there, but keep coming back and redoing the 10 assessments to really maximise, you know, your score and get your highest performance possible. And we help them with support in those areas and give them key focuses and tips and tricks and stuff like that in order to maximise the scores for each of the individual assessments. And then on the leaderboard, on the current leaderboard for that individual college, they have an opportunity at the end of that to nominate the top 3 individuals, performing individuals in their college, to represent them at a live fitness competition event where we will crown AOC Sports Fittest Student.
Fantastic.
So it's really exciting.
Yeah, no, that sounds really exciting. And I think it's a great application of all of the things that we've mentioned before, but coming together into this AFR.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I've had conversations with different sort of employers and individuals in the industry on this series before is very much around, and it's a point you made there, that this isn't just for the sports students in centres. Actually, that fitness is obviously for anyone. There's a real opportunity for the sports students to kind of get this out and penetrate the different areas and give an understanding and engage with students in different areas, for example, in colleges or centres. But actually, it doesn't matter what course you're on, you can really start to look at your own fitness here as well. So,
and I think that's the really important thing. It's allowing people to answer that question. If someone says to you, how fit are you? It's really difficult to answer, because you're like, well, I might be strong at this, but I'm not so good at it. So this actually gives you could say a one number, my Arkon fitness rating is X, Y, and Z. Right. And you know that encompasses lots of different categories for an overall fitness rating that is easy to understand once everyone else. Well, what's your score out of 1,000? Mine's 896. Well, mine's only 500. But you know that all of that background algorithms have been taken into account to create that score in the first place. One of the interesting things we are going to be doing or rolling out in the next couple of months is actually for the sports performance side of things is AFR is generally for general fitness. But what we're looking for is we're going to be creating ratings for sports specific individuals. So we're working with Rugby League to create a Rugby League fitness rating, which will include all of the aspects, like I said before, of almost like a combine of what the best types of assessments that you'd need for to get a rugby rating, get some of the top athletes in the country to fulfill them and say, well, this is what great looks like. So how far are you away from that? It can also then be used for scouting opportunities. And what we'd like to do is run almost like a sporting combine, where we have people can buy into potentially coming in and having like a combine day specifically to test for rugby, or to specifically test for football or American football. We're doing one currently at the moment with BAFA as well, which is great. So we're really looking into cutting into those sports aspects to take it not just from fitness, but into that sporting aspect as well.
Great. Yeah, there's 2 things there for me. I think, first of all, in terms of that rating, people can use that in a way that serves them. So as you say, it might just be about them gauging their progress with their general health and fitness, or it might be in terms of trying to reach that elite, that level they're trying to achieve, or with their peers. So they can use that in that way that serves them. But then also there's a real sense of the evolution of what Arkon is doing and what you're involved in, and actually almost, not at the start of this journey by any means, there's been lots of work and you're out there doing different things. But I think for centres, lecturers, learners, people thinking about becoming practitioners, as in PTs or fitness instructors, that actually engagement with your platform is really going to inform their journey and help them on that journey. So I think we've covered obviously lots of different bits here, and for maybe centres or learners, I think, okay, where do I start? For the BTEC centres, what we've done and we've cited, but we've flagged that as we sort of go through in terms of this journey, is that on our website, on our collaboration page, there will be a link to the Arkon and BTEC resource in terms of our fitness qualifications. And the first step really would be to open that and go and register on the platform through that link that you have there, and then start to explore and iterate. And whether that's a lecturer, teacher, going, okay, well, how can I introduce this to my learners? Am I going to do it in a given lesson? And we've linked that to the specification. Or actually, do I want to give this to the learners that are on these courses for them to register and them to start exploring, because they're already in the gym, they're already doing lots of stuff. So I think that first bit is that engagement, and then it really starts to open up the channels to the competitions and how they might wish to use it in their centres, and then hopefully in turn with clients and help them with their authentic industry journey.
That's it. That's yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. And like we said, in the resource there is sort of links over to contact us direct. So if any centres or even learners feel they need any support on navigating the platform, by all means, drop us a line and we can help you with that. But yeah, just to clarify again, it's free to register. That's probably the biggie here, is that your learners and your centres can register for free and use it straight away. Our main focus on this is to really, again, is to support the industry, and so we want as many people really utilising what we've created. So we have got aspects of the platform that are monetised, but generally our main focus is to really support the industry and get people using the platform to help them, make the most of their role, whether that's a sporting role or a fitness role or as an educational setting as well. So
great. And I think obviously our collaboration of that curated piece is testament to that, and we really sort of see that synergy to support the learners and centres moving forward. Really like to thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Today, Kate. That was really interesting. Covered lots of different areas, whether that's for centres thinking about using this, learners thinking about taking some key tips for that journey, or centres thinking about how they could use this beyond just their sports learners in their centres and all the other things that are yet to come. So some really exciting stuff there. So again, thank you for your time, and hope everyone enjoys listening.
Brilliant. Thank you.